to the April 26, 2022 meeting of the Town of Islip Zoning Board of Appeals. Start with the public notice. Notice is hereby given that the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Islip will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April 26, 2022 at Town Hall West, 401 West Main Street, Islip, New York. Following applications at the times listed or as soon thereafter as they may be reached. And at such time, all interested parties will be given an opportunity to be heard, dated April 25th, 2022. John M. Lorenzo, Chairman. Mr. Chairman, our first application tonight is number 268-22, Edward and Adriana Perry. Permission to leave shed having a side yard of 1 foot instead of required 2 feet. Residence A District, west side of Overlook Drive, number 286, 286.5 feet north of Maryland Street, East Islip, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? When your case is called, please come up to the podium, state your name and address clearly, and we will hear what you have to say.
Edward Perry, 286 Overlook Drive in East Islip.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Hey, you have a shed a little bit too close. Seems to us we see them all the time.
Yeah.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Lex, I'll take a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to grant the application.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted.
Next
Thank you.
application, number 269-22, Ronald A. and Emma J. Rayner, permission to establish family use only, pursuant to Islip Town Code, Section 68-419.1. Residence A District, west side of Bayshore Road, number 1088, 125 feet south of East Oakdale Street, Bayshore, New York. Ma'am, your name and address for the record, please.
Patricia Harper, Control Central, Inc., representing the Raynors who are present.
How are you tonight?
Good.
So you're here to seek permission to establish family use only.
Correct.
Criteria, age. Everything's in order, man?
We weren't sure whether it was coming in on age or medical hardship.
We asked for an added consideration to be granted for age, considering that Mr. Raynor is 63 years of age, and the age being for ZBA is set at 72, but the normal senior benefits range within Islip is from 60 to 65.
Yeah, I don't think it's set at 72. I think that the board just utilizes 70 as an age, but times are changing. So they'll be living with the son or daughter.
It's their house. The extended family is the younger that came to live with the older.
Gotcha.
63 is not that old anymore.
I was going to say,
That's
I mean, maybe to
right,
the,
Mr. Garbarino. That's a spring chicken.
63. He was probably 63 when I was born.
maybe, we're going to be 63 when we get out of here with
Yeah.
you guys commenting
Yeah.
on every application.
All right.
I'm fine with it. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application for
3 years, right?
3 years. I'm sorry.
Second.
All in favor? All right. 3 years.
Thank you.
Next application, number 270-22, Bogdan and Sherry Serbu. Permission to leave in-ground pool having side yard of 9.6 feet instead of the required 10 feet, and to leave a pool patio having a side yard of 4.5 feet instead of the required 6 feet. Residence B District, 278 Cluster, west side of Glen Summer Road, number 12, 94.07 feet south of Greenbelt Parkway, West Holbrook, New York. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Bogdan Serbu, 12 Glen Summer Road, Holbrook, New York.
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm pretty good yourself.
Good, thanks. Seems like they went off the fence and not the property line.
Yeah, looks like that's what ended
Yeah,
up happening.
that's what happens. Happens a lot. The survey does say 9.8. I don't think we ever changed that. It's 9.6 in full.
It's more, so it's.
More.
Oh, wait, yes, it's better.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted.
Next application, number 271-22, Narciso, and Maria Rodriguez. Permission to leave roofed over patio having a side yard of 10.2 feet instead of required 14 feet. Residence B District, south side of Morris Street, number 76, 225 feet east of Jefferson Avenue, Brentwood. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
I want to say hello to everybody, but my English No, it's so good. You
My
know how to
Spanish isn't so
interpret
good
it?
either, so we'll make it through.
Excuse me?
Just your name and address for the record. That's fine. We can understand.
Oh, in Spanish?
No, but we'll get through. We'll get through it.
Erect. Hang
All
on.
right.
Let's just, what is the app?
What does
Nar-
planning have to say?
Narciso W. Rodriguez,
Are we good?
He's not.
76 Morgan
What's in line with
Street,
the house?
Brentwood, New York.
Okay, great. And you have the overhang here. It's in line with the house. I don't think there's no issue with planning. I think we should be okay. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicoli, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
All right.
Application granted.
There you
Adios.
I'm sorry.
go. Buenos noches.
No,
All right.
you're
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Berger.
you.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Next application number 272-22, Sylvan Avenue Property LLC, permission to erect one-story warehouse, leaving front yard of 30 feet and front yard through lot of 30 feet instead of the required 50 feet each. Industrial 1 District, southwest side of Sylvan Avenue, 1,239.17 feet south of Sunrise Highway, through lot to Nichols Road, Bayport, New York. Mr. Garbarino, welcome.
Yes, William Garbarino, 40 Main Street, Sable, New York, for the applicant. This is a property that went for site plan approval and had covenants issued back in the mid 1980s. There was a requirement that they get a building permit within a certain period of time. Subsequently, we came into the town board and planning board to modify covenants, because one of the covenants was that the building, warehouse on the north end could only be 12 feet high. We were in front of the town board in September, planning board earlier than that, and that was granted. Unfortunately, the law was changed and the town board couldn't grant this stuff. It was held back in the 80s. They couldn't grant variances. Even though there was a setback of 30 feet granted, that was the minimum setback for the building. It was memorialized by a covenant. But, the law changed and the town board couldn't do it. So we're back here in front of the Board of Appeals to get a variance to approve what was granted back in the mid 80s. And that's it. Never built. And that's why we're here, because the permit was never gotten in sufficient time.
So, I'm sorry, the permit was granted at 30 feet. It was
Yes.
never built?
Yes,
And they
it was
wanna build
granted
it?
by the town board, yes.
Okay.
But then subsequently, it was held that the town board didn't have authority to grant variances.
Okay. You mean by case law?
Yes,
Okay. And so it was not built or was built,
it wasn't built,
and they want to build it now?
and they want to build it now.
Okay. What took them like 30, 40
Well,
years?
they never built it back then. Economy was different. My client bought this property about 3 or 4 years ago, I think, and basically now he wants to build it. We had to modify the covenant, because the covenant that said the north end of the property, the height of the warehouse could only be 12 feet, was put in because back then, none of this property on Sylvan Avenue was developed. And they wanted to make sure that if houses went in, that they wouldn't have a high building. Well, if you look at Sylvan Avenue now, it's all industrial buildings, and so it was granted by the town board. However, at that time, it wasn't realized that since they didn't build it, and since case law had come up, we had now to come back to the Board of Appeals. And we're just asking for what was granted and what was memorialized as a covenant running with the land.
When was that? Just out of curiosity, maybe somebody down at the other end of the table knows. When was is it the Court of Appeals? Was it in the 90s that they said only the zoning board? Yeah.
I think it was 91,
Okay.
92, okay,
That's what I was thinking. Okay. Thank you.
all right.
I was still in high school. That's what I
So that's basically it. We're not asking,
I was in second grade.
So I'm assuming there's no opposition by planning, correct? Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application Application granted, sir. Have a great
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Next application number 273-22, Kevin P. and Danielle C. Alberts. Secretary addition, side yard 14 feet, Bishop West Side Drive, Road 58, 112.75 feet south of Kent Court, West Islip, New York. Mr. Rudy Ross.
David.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Charles J. Brudy, architect, 30 Bethesda Lane, Sable, New York, representing the property owner.
How are you tonight, sir?
Very well, and yourself?
Doing great,
Hope
thanks.
everyone's well. As stated in the call, homeowner seeks permission to construct a second-story addition with a non-conforming side yard of 13.2 feet instead of the required 14 in a Residence B zone.
Looks like the house is a little shifted on the property, huh?
It's a little twisted, but not,
Yeah.
but not too much.
All right, I don't see an issue. What are you staying within the footprint of the CO dwellings going above?
That is correct.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, from you.
I'll make a motion to grant the application.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted.
Thank you.
Next application number 274-22, Christopher C. and Maria A. Smith, permission to erect two-story addition, leaving side yard of 10.1 feet instead of the required 14 feet, Residence B District, west side of Saxton Avenue, number 76, 591.16 feet south of Brook Street, Sayville, New York. Mr. Rudy, welcome back.
Excuse me 1 second, Mr. Bird. Sorry about that, sir.
Not a problem. Hello again. Charles J. Brudy, architect, 30 Bethesda Lane, Sayville, New York, representing the property owner. Again, as stated in the call, homeowners seek permission to construct a two-story addition in line with the existing house and requesting a side yard setback of 10.1 feet instead of the required 14 feet in the B zone. The-
Is it 14 feet theater for two-story in that zoning district? I'm sorry, Ms. Pissarro was talking. So there's not an additional setback for a second story? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Messina, maybe you want to suggest a code change or this.
I do not. I just want to know what it is we're varying, that's all.
All right.
Just for the board's information, the house to the south of this property is approximately 75 feet away from the property line.
What do we have as far as,
No, I understand, well,
There-
it's not, right? It's 10.1 instead of 14.
what do we
No,
have?
I-
That's
I'm-
why you're here.
No, the house on the
But
south
that
property.
doesn't measure house.
Well, my last hearing, you had questioned the house relevance next
See
door.
how political I am?
So
That was
there
2
is
weeks ago. That's a lifetime.
there is precedence on the block according to planning.
And just to
Are they 2-floor or one? Okay.
add to Mr. Brody's, the property next to it is not only so far away, but it's a really big house that's way south of it. Yeah. on it, so.
I'm just trying to figure out how big is the property.
All of
To
it.
the south,
Am I looking in the right direction?
Yeah, it's that whole big piece.
Oh, it's that piece. I thought it was one in blue.
No, it's an whole big piece.
Okay, that's a huge piece.
Yeah, it's big. And the house is big. It's like that old, really cool South Table.
I like that, so that's the best.
Oh, you do? Yeah. You know very much. Yeah, that's cool. Cool. Forgot about that. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Right there. That's the house.
Oh, what's the thing next
The driveway and the structure.
to behind it next to the immediately?
It's a structure.
Oh, it is a structure, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is that just to the left of it? Is that St. John's? Yeah. Does anybody know?
It's not, it's
Oh,
yeah,
it's
high
Sable-
school, yeah.
Oh, okay.
back in high school.
yes, back.
Did you go to Sable?
Nope, not quite. Keep it. Not a golden flash. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Have a great night. Next application, 275-22, John and Catherine Gates. Permission to leave the shed having a rear yard 0.7 feet instead of required 2 feet, second shed. Having side yard 1.5 feet instead of required 2 feet. And not having 20 feet behind the front line of the residence outside of 3, 82.64 feet left. Size of New York, sir, your name is correct.
John Gedney, 183 Driftwood Drive, West Islip, New York, 11795.
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Good.
There you go.
You see, how long has the shed been up?
It's 2001.
2001. I think
What shed are we talking? The biggest shed?
The one that's not 20 feet
on
behind
the
the
front
property.
line drawing.
It's 2001.
So the code changed, I think, around 2012 from 10 feet to 20 feet. So I think you'll be good with that. And the second, what is the second? 0.7 instead of 2, all the way back in the corner. The minutes, we see them a lot. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
All in favor? Application granted.
Thank you.
Good night.
And then next application, 276-22, Joseph Coletti. 10 feet, 14 feet. Shed on the side yard 0.9 feet, instead of about 2 feet. 692.21 feet in Harriet Road, Bayport, New York. Counselor, welcome back. Your name and address for the record.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Steve Bertolino, 130 West Main Street, East Cyprus, New York, for the applicant. As Mr. Messina just pointed out,
Just interject, I'd like to reflect that I'm going to be recusing myself from the next 2 applications.
okay. Well, that's not fair. Anyway, as Mr. Messina pointed out in the call of the meeting, this is an application to install. So for a change, we're here ahead of time instead of after the fact. And trying to keep in the board's requirements of only asking for one relaxation. As you can see on the survey you probably have in front of you, there's a distance of about 35 feet from the rear property line to the rear of the house. So in speaking with the applicant, going over approximate pool size that he, his 3 kids and wife can enjoy, we've proposed a 10-foot setback in the rear, maintaining the side yard setback of 14, putting in a 15-foot pool and maintaining a 10-foot separation from the house. Nature and character of the area, there's many pools up and down this block and the ones behind it. It seems and it appears that some may be further than 500 feet away, but it certainly appears that there may be precedent in the area where the pools are a lot closer to the lot line than 14 feet. Don't think there's any adverse environmental impact, and if the board has any further questions.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, take a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Application granted.
Thank you. Just want to point out, I didn't mention the shed, but I want to point out that the shed was also part of this application.
Oh, I apologize. The
No,
shed, we see the de minimis side relief of these sheds all the time, so I apologize. The shed we see.
I just want to make sure that it wasn't glossed over because I missed it myself. Thank you.
Next application, 277-22, Andrew and Salvatore Amanda Jr. Patio on side property line, not having quite setback of 4 feet, and to leave shed on side property line, typically quite 2 feet. Residential district, East Side, Spruce Avenue, 7, 168. New York.
Once again, same appearance for the record. With respect to the pool, as you can see, this is, I believe, truly de minimis. Looks like we missed by about 7 inches, 8 inches off of the rear lot line. The pool was probably squared to the house, and they missed a little bit. I know this board grants applications much greater than this. I won't spend too much time on that unless the board has any questions at the end. With respect to the equipment, the town had changed the code. I think after this pool was already in the planning stage, the filter was supposed to be set at 4 feet. It wound up being a little shy of 4 feet instead of the 6 feet. That's how that happened. With respect to the shed and the block patio, as you can see from the survey, the property adjoining to the south
is a Town of Islip recharge basin. I don't think anybody would be affected if this board saw fit to grant. I did advise the applicant that the board does not have the power to allow the applicant to use Town of Islip property. But it is such a de minimis encroachment, I don't think it would be an issue. And as this board is well aware, there can be no adverse possession claim against the municipality, so I don't think that would be an issue if this board saw fit to grant the application.
Anything on that? Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, take.
I'll make a motion that we grant the application, but with respect to any encroachments, of course, our granting is certainly not granting approval for any encroachments on town property.
Understood.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Next application number 278-22, Peter and Jacqueline Colombo, permission to reach your patio having the side yard 5 feet, 26 feet, driveway having the side yard 3 feet, 4 feet, front yard occupancy of 47.6%, instead of 35%. The district west side of 3.9%, 41 feet north of Biltmore Drive, East Islip, New York. Sir, madam, your name and address for the record, please.
Peter Jacqueline Colombo, 72 Quintup Lane, East Islip, 19730.
Thank you. You just have to speak into the microphone a little
Sorry.
more because you have terrible acoustics.
And the young lady next to you?
Jacqueline Colombo, 72 Quintup Lane, East Islip, 11730.
How are you both tonight?
Great.
Good. So the pool patio, we see a lot de minimis in my opinion. I'm sure we'll take a vote on it. Driveway, 3 instead of 4. The same front yard occupancy. We allow as a board up to 40% from 35. We give a little leeway. You're at 47.6. So however you can get down to 40 if you need to speak with planning. I believe from the past we've voted that way, and then however the applicant gets down to 40%, they can.
Okay.
Front yard occupancy.
I just want to ask, are you aware of the circumstances that we bought this house 3 years ago and the driveway was already installed?
You know, and we hear that every week, and I feel horrible to say this to you, but we can't judge off of how you purchased the house. We only can do what we have a code to uphold, and we bend it a little bit. That's why you're here. But we can't. If we gave 47 to you, the next person come in and say 47.8, and it'll just keep growing and growing and growing. And after a while, which I love concrete and brick, but all the properties would be concrete and brick.
I mean, if I could just say, it's unfortunate for us because we moved to Islip to be closer to work. We both work at Southside. And had we known at the closing, we would have had some sort of stipulation with the previous. And now it's too late for any of that.
I'm sorry, but I don't. If you speak with someone in planning, maybe Deirdre or so, she can direct you to someone. There may be ways around just cutting some part of it off and getting down to 7% to 40. So I don't think it's a big adjustment on that front area.
Okay.
We just can't give over a certain. We give 5% extra already as it is. If we kept creeping on it, it would keep going. All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion. Sorry.
Thank you, but I'll try to sound like Mr. Sullivan. I'll make a motion that we deny so much the application seeking a front yard occupancy of 47.6% and grant 40% instead, and grant the remainder of the application.
All in favor?
Have a good night.
Have a great night, guys. Thanks.
Next application number 279-22, Adam and Christine Warner's permission to leave in-ground pool having a side yard of 60 feet and required 18 feet to the pool equipment on the side property line, having required setback of 6 feet or from public district website of the road, and number 222.63 feet south of Oakdale Lane, Bayshore, New York. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Adam Warner's back, 984 Hampshire Road.
How are you tonight?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good. Seems like they went off the fence also, not off the property line.
I'm going to say exactly what they just said, too. I bought the house. It was there. It was like that already.
Yeah.
See how well it worked out for them?
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
You really want to copy
Let's
that?
just start over.
It appears that they went off your fence on the pool. Pool equipment, side property line. I don't think it puts up too much over there anyway. All right, does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a good night.
We're good. Thank you. Have a good night.
Next application, 280-22, Danielle M. Balsamo. This is from Sylvan, near the yard of 8 feet, so it's like 10 feet to the patio, having side yard of 3 yards, 4 feet to the post. And pool equipment having side yard of 2 feet instead of like 6 feet, as the side of Wentworth, 4 feet, 6, 75 feet. No, sorry, you need to address.
Deed respect to the applicant. My office address is 260.
Sorry, I can't really speak up.
Deed respect to the applicant. Office is at 265 Brookfield Avenue, Central Merchants, New York. Good evening, board. Thank you for your time. So we're looking to put a pool in at 8 feet off the rear as opposed to 10. And we're just looking to keep a fence line between the pool and the house so the kids can still access the lawn area. So we're looking to just push the pool back a couple of feet and a little bit of patio closer to the property line. And obviously the filter site as well.
Great. You know, we like to keep one side conforming.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sylvan will take a motion. All in favor?
Thank you for your time.
Application ready.
Anyone who's here for the application of Richard and Doris Saz, that's 226 William Street in Holbrook, that application is going to be changed. Next application, number 282-22, Sabrina Murray, for the decision of roof over porch having the front yard of 18.6 feet. The porch, roof over second story deck, stairs, and cellar entrance all having floor area ratio of 30%, 5%. The driveway located inside the triangle that is featured southeast corner of Madison Avenue, Stockton Street. Brentwood, New York, is there anyone here for the applicant? Second call, please, Mr. Chairman.
Second call.
Next application, number 283-22, Douglas Green. Permission to leave detached garage, 14.4 feet by 22.4 feet, have front yard 2 wide, and 19.8 feet, instead of required 25 feet, side yard 1.6 feet, instead of required 4 feet, 14.6 feet, 2 feet, 5 feet, and to leave mechanical equipment, not having pipe 4 feet, 600 feet south of Willow Street, in the Hot Dog and Brent Bayport, New York. Mr. Bracco, welcome, name and address for the record.
Good evening, members of the board. John Bracco, architect, 111 Railroad Avenue, Sayville, New York.
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Good. Here tonight on behalf of the applicant Douglas Green. We are here before you this evening in regards to 3 existing items. First is an existing shed which will be relocated off town property and onto the subject parcel, leaving a setback of 2 feet to the property line of this through lot. Just to note, the houses on the east side of Poplar Lane in this area all face Saddam Lane, and they all have Saddam Lane addresses. Second is an existing HVAC unit, which is currently set back about 1 foot from the existing front of the residence and is hidden by landscaping and not visible from the street. Both of these items are requests that I believe the board has looked favorably upon with similar type applications in the past. Lastly is an existing 1-car detached garage, leaving a side yard of 1.6 feet and a through lot front yard in the rear of 19.8 feet. The existing residence and detached garage have been in my client's family since 1954, which is the year the house was built. The detached garage then followed in 1955. We know these exact time frames because they were both built by Mr. Green's father, so we know the garage has been there for a very long time. In regards to precedents, we were able to find one other property within 500 feet with similar grants. Case number 165-00, 163 Saddam Lane, in which both a side yard for a detached garage and a front yard for a shed were granted with closer setbacks than we are seeking. Therefore, we feel the requests are within the nature and character of the neighborhood, and if the board has any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them.
Great. Deirdre from planning, any opposition? No objection. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a great night.
Next application, 284-22, Helen Barber. And portico with a side yard of 16.16 feet, instead of the required 25 feet, use the total side yard to 34.75 feet, so required 60 feet as in particular district, west side of West Lane, 606.63 feet south of Montauk Lane, Bay Shore, New York. Mr. Dunn, welcome.
Good evening, everybody. It's Michael Dunn, 256 Orinoco Drive, Wright Waters, New York, 11718.
How are you tonight, sir?
Very good. Hope you guys are all doing well.
Great. Thanks.
So Mrs. Barbara would like to do a two-story addition in the rear of her house that's keeping in line with the existing house. The lot is one of those skinny lots there on West Lane. There's a bunch of them that are similar to that. And there's a few in that area that have similar side yard setbacks in that 13-foot range. So we thought by just keeping in line, that would be okay. The FAR is not even close. And, you know, from the front, from the neighborhood side, it'll look the same, keep the same character of the neighborhood. The portico in the front is 16, but the addition as the side yard approaches gets a little tighter in the back because that right side has a funny angle to the property line. So that's why it gets a little closer in the back.
Great. Deirdre, any planning objection? Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicoli, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to grant, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application
Thank you
granted.
very much.
Have a great night.
Have a good night.
This application is 285-22, permit Nardo Pollution to Electric Vehicle 14, side yard 10.75 feet, so it's like 14 feet. East. Name and address for the record, please.
Jeanette Nardo, 63 Biltmore Avenue in Oakdale, 11769.
How are you tonight?
I don't know who's talking to kids.
You nervous? We don't bite.
Well, my big
Give your
brother.
Name and address for the record, please.
Big brother.
Vincent Amato, 7 Granby Drive, Blue Point, New York. How are you tonight, sir?
Good.
So you're here just for
Moral support.
moral support.
She needed her big brother.
There's nothing to be nervous about. This is just zoning. It's easy. Permission to erect a roof over. Listen, I love zoning, but nothing to be nervous about. We don't-
On a bumper sticker, I heart zoning.
It's just so.
It's just
That's my new man.
It's just zoning. Well, it's not life or death. It's zoning. I'm nervous about. I'm sorry if I offended anyone. Two-story dwelling. Your household's 10.75 feet. You're staying in line with the house.
Yes.
Covered porch. I don't see an issue. Any issue with planning? No objections. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
See how nice we are?
Yay. Thank you.
Have a good day.
This application 286 is for guy and Hiram Madai was involved. Wishing to be above ground pool and the size of 5.32 meters, 6 feet, 7.2 feet each rebuilt on 6%. Instead of the required 40%, so I would have parking lot 9%, instead of permitted 35%. Residence Street District, south side of Stella Avenue, 267, 620 feet, Oakdale Avenue, Holbrook, New York. The name and address for the record, please, and you're going to teach them something tonight, so I'm going to pay close attention.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Good.
Harambe Search Valley, 267 Estelle Avenue, Holbrook, New York, 11741.
Came close, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you tonight?
I am very good. How are you all?
Good. So you have an above ground pool, 5, 3, and 6 instead of 10. How long has that pool been up?
A year and a half.
But it is an above-ground pool, though. Rear yard of 17 instead of 40, that is. I don't know either. That's what I'm saying. Gravel with hedges. We got grass here. No problem. It looks like old grass back there, right? Is your rear yard all asphalt?
Was that?
Is your rear yard paved?
No, not paved.
Not at all, right?
No.
What is it back?
Blacktop.
I'm sorry?
Blacktop.
Blacktop.
Oh,
Yeah,
blacktop.
paved.
Okay. The whole, so. And you do like a bull to the pool. And front yard occupancy of 49 instead of 35. You're gonna have to get out of 40, right? So the front yard occupancy, the pavement in the front yard?
All blacktop.
Yeah.
The driveway?
Yeah, the code says 35%. We see up to 40%. You're at 49%. So you're gonna have to get down to 40% in the front yard.
So are you talking about the blacktop covering? What are
Blacktop covering the front yard, yes. You have to get down to 40% on that for your front yard occupancy.
Mr. Chairman, you just want to point out something interesting. Because of the narrow streets in the area, she
Yeah.
said that, they're very generous in terms of like this, because you can't afford
Can you
Right.
park a car in front of your house?
No, I park in the garage because I got little kids, so on the driveway. But you know that's how we bought the house.
You have a narrow street in front of you, real narrow street in front of your
Yeah,
house?
yeah, you can't park on the street.
Okay, so if we can just put that in our decision, that'd be fine. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I will vote to grant the application with respect to the retail.
Second.
All in favor? So the life of the pool, so if you have to move fix your pool or redo it, you have to move to comply.
I have to move what?
You have to move the pool to comply.
Oh.
If you, once you have to repair the pool.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Is it, the road that's in front of it is very narrow, they can't park on the street, but they. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a
You're good.
good night. Next
Thank you.
application
Thank you.
287-22, Sam and Catherine Fassler. Permission to erect a one-story addition 16.2, 25.2, 23.23, regular. To the front yard 29.33 feet instead of required 40 feet, inside yard 12.39 feet instead of required 14 feet. Residential district. West side of Connect Watt Road, number 194, 1718.5 miles. South of Connecticut, New York. Ma'am, sir, your names and addresses for the record.
Sam Fasnacht, 194 Connecticut Road, Bayport, New York, 11705.
Catherine Fasnacht, 194 Connecticut Road, Bayport, New York, 11705.
Good evening, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Looking to bump out front of the house, probably to tend the kitchen over there, right?
Correct.
Kitchen's always in the front of those blocks over there. Wow. 29.3 instead of 40. Side yard at 12.39 instead of the house holds that. I know we go back and forth with homes like this in the area all the time. There's another one on Connecticut, or actually row behind it that we talked about and approved, I believe, about a year and a half ago regarding the bump out of the kitchen. What does planning feel regarding the front yard? Okay, there we go. Great, two lucky nights. Yeah. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Next application, 288-22, Thomas and Charles Sylvan, permission to erect a one-story addition, 5 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet, so it requires 14 feet new shed, leaving the side yard 1.2 feet, so it requires 2 feet, 13 feet, 200 feet south of Alexander Avenue, Harvard Street, Hoboken, New York. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Thomas Rodlin, 187 Benjamin Street, Holbrook, New York.
How are you tonight? You can pull that up so you don't have to bend over so much. It may fall over, but just
There we go.
make it work. Thank you. One-story addition, side of 10 instead of 14. Peter, any precedent on side, or is any objection on planning? And this is only a one-story addition, correct? So we did, it's only one-story addition.
Maybe we'll condition that they keep it one.
Okay, whatever you say.
Seems fair.
You're gonna keep this one story?
Yeah, it's going to be one story and attic, continuation of the existing roof line. It is a unique condition where I'm a through lot and the neighbor that we're extending towards is also a through lot.
Right.
He faces the opposite street.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not really his side yard, the way that you would probably think of it. So it's a little bit of a unique condition, but he is quite far away.
All right, and it's gonna be only one story.
Yeah.
Great.
An attic, yeah.
And yeah,
Attic.
Same height as the existing structure.
yeah, same range. We're just gonna keep the roof line right over.
Exactly.
Right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Application granted. Have a good
Yeah,
day.
next application, 289-22, Edgar and Maria Fernandez. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. Edgar Fernandez, 115 Alkira Street in Brentwood.
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. How you guys? How you folks doing?
Excuse me?
I said, how are you folks doing?
We're doing great, thank you. So your shed is 4 square feet, or sorry, your detached garage is 4 square feet over the 4 feet. Just 4 square feet. It's okay. I think you'll be just fine.
No explanation needed.
Thank you so much.
I was trying to be sarcastic. I'm not very good at it.
Point, more talking is only on.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
If it, whatever. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application?
You're learning.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Yeah, you'll learn.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Motion granted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a great night.
Thank you. Good evening.
I'm good.
Next application, number
Oh, we could just take a break.
290-22, Arthur Land, Catherine Wallace. Commission to install a hot tub in the front yard, 25 feet, which requires 60 feet, decking from 10 feet. 15 feet, there's complete declaration, east side of Crescent Avenue, 6 feet south of Central Walk. Seaview, New York, Mr. Graham, welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Glenn Graham with Graham Associates, 256 Orinoco Drive, Brightwaters, New York. The Langhouses would like to add 2 small decks in line with their shed in the rear, and also put in a new hot tub, which would be behind an existing swimming pool. The decks themselves have a lot of precedent, down to 6.5 feet instead of 15. Case 022-19 Moskowitz. That's about 240 feet away from this property, and there's several others. The hot tub, as I said, is behind an existing pool that would have to have the same setbacks, and it's also close to a vacant lot on our south side. If the board has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I do. I'm trying to see, Mr. Graham, where the hot tub will be placed, and I don't see it from what's before.
It should be highlighted on your site plan, but it would be directly south of the swimming pool. Yes, I did.
Is it on this, and I
Yeah,
just
here.
don't see it?
Never mind, we got it.
We got it.
So here it is.
Oh, I see. Okay, the code, as you know, requires substantially more, 60. Am I reading that correct? Instead of
Yes.
28.5. And what type of precedent do you have so we don't create precedent?
Well, the same precedent this existing swimming pool has is also required to be 60 feet from property line. So I'm keeping this behind that existing swimming pool. The board, as you know, has granted swimming pools down to 30, I think 30.8 feet as well.
I guess I'm not following you, so forgive me. I see an existing pool.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, and that's set back from the property line.
At 25 feet.
Okay, okay. And the pool, the proposed hot tub, you want to, I don't see
We're-
directional on.
We're putting on an existing deck further away from the street than the pool is required to be. The pool also has to have that 60-foot setback, and we're putting it behind the pool, further away from the street.
I can't, I'm going to draw a big circle. What's there? You look on my Instagram view, see where my finger is? What's there?
That is a vacant lot.
That's a vacant lot.
Yes.
And what's the distance required to be set back from that property line? I don't know what east-west, I don't know, we'll just say from the vacant lot. What is required setback?
We're not seeking any side yard relief for the hot tub.
Okay, it's only from, see, there are no streets here, so on what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
Yeah, the graphic is not as easy to read as your graphics.
I am
I
representing
don't care for their line weights.
I'm representing a different architect.
Yes,
So
so let's look at the aerial.
straight down is the road.
I think we'll do better with the aerial. Can you help us?
This
So
crescent.
the house is an L-shaped house. Bill, can you see that? The house is L-shaped, which is hard to tell
Okay,
on
okay.
graphic that was submitted.
All right,
The
make it a
pool-
little larger, I'm sorry. Okay, there
The
we go.
pool was built and CO'd at a time when all it needed to be was behind the front line of the dwelling.
Okay,
So it is on the CO.
okay.
In 2014, I believe, we adopted a setback requirement for pools at Fire Island. And we made them the same setback as accessory structures. So we've often heard these pool cases, often presented by Mr. Graham, where the applicant is seeking less than the 60, because the 60 is simply hard to provide on a lot that's only 103 feet.
So the hot tub is going to go, I guess, just behind the arrow a
right
little
there.
bit.
Right there.
And it needs the 60 feet that the pool does.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, I got you. Thank you, thank you.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion. to grant the offer.
Thank
Second.
you.
Second. All in favor? Application.
Thank you.
Next application number 291-2024.
Yeah.
Anthony Walker, LLC. Commission is recommending two-story dwelling with a second story balcony, floor area ratio of 39%, 30%. Residence fee double district in South Carolina, South.
Glenn Graham, Graham Associates, 256 Orinoco Drive, Bright Waters, New York. The Dimitris are looking to knock down and rebuild this home. It will be fully meet zoning with the exception of the FAR, which I believe is just under 40%, which the board is routinely granted across Seaview. I do have a house 497 feet away that was granted 40% FAR as well.
Just me.
What's that?
Just me.
But
497
there is, as you know, a ton of precedent in this across Seaview. All right. My only thing saying, this house is close. It's one off the bay and a block from Ocean Beach, so it's jammed into the corner of Seaview.
Gotcha. And they're knock it down and rebuild them?
Yes.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Rexon, take your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
All in favor?
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Next application is the United Resolution according to Stephanie and Lewis Parker, 53rd. (208) 178.16 feet east of Country Village in the size of New York. Sir, your name and address.
Mitch Brendel, Integrity Expediting, 2800 Middle Country Road, Lake Grove, New York. 755.
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing well. Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. How are y'all?
Doing great. I'm intrigued to find how you're gonna get to 5.3 instead of 14.
Yes.
Well, 5.5, I'm sorry.
So
First, before you even start, is there any precedent?
there is not.
I knew that.
Closest is, I believe, 10 based on research and planning.
So why would we give 5.5 and we'd have to replicate this 100 times over?
Because there's 5 factors, not just one, right? Mr. Brendel?
Exactly. So if you bid me the opportunity to run through my list of
Okay, but
compelling
Can you
reasons.
just tell us like the most compelling reason?
Uh,
He really wants you to give him the clip notes.
Okay, Cliff Notes. Homeowner bought the house in 2013 with an existing garage conversion. Shortly thereafter, received violations and had to legalize the existing garage conversion and cellar conversion. They have 3 children, 3, 6, and 9. Pool in the backyard, no place to store a car, no place to store equipment. Looking to have a place to safely park their vehicle. Looking to have a place to store children's toys, equipment, pool
So far,
equipment.
none of them are compelling reasons for zoning purposes. But go ahead.
Okay.
Only zoning.
Only zoning. So
Okay, what's your next best compelling reason? That's your best. It's going downhill from there rapidly.
the proposed addition doesn't increase the FAR over the limit.
It doesn't do what?
There's no FAR issues with the
Okay,
addition, the proposed
you get a
addition.
brownie point there. That's not one of the 5 factors, but go ahead.
All right. Well, this is what Lewis and Stephanie are proposing the homeowners before the board, looking to have a place.
You know, I think
That was the
also-
fast, rapid cliff note.
I think you forgot to mention that there's overhead wires hanging through the backyard. It's not like they could put a detached garage behind the house. They'd be extremely limited to where they can do that.
There was also a larger shed that was part of the initial violation that they did have to tear down. And so they're now proposing the garage for storage
Oh, wait a
purposes.
minute. So they had to take down the shed, so they want to build instead of the shed.
In a different location. The shed wasn't in the side yard. It was in a different location.
There's a reason they made them take
Oversized.
down the shed, correct?
It was oversized without a permit. It was existing prior to them purchasing the
Right,
dwelling.
and too close to the property line.
I don't know all the specifications
had
of
it.
where it was located.
So they took that down, and now they want to build this. The logic escaped me, but okay.
So, what impact would there be on the adjoining neighbors? Tell us about that.
The property directly
Where would the
adjoining,
where would the addition go? And how
Yeah.
close then is it? Not to the side yard, but if you know, it would be.
if you see
very close, isn't it?
that adjacent property on the other side of the fence, that is where they have a carport, where they would also be parking their vehicles. So those
The
two
impact would be on
adjoining
carport,
factors,
not on actual business.
correct.
That you
I don't know.
suspect
I'm not
that's
looking to
more.
get anybody in trouble either. But
No,
it
no, no,
is
that's
that
right.
side of their home where they park their
So-
vehicles as well.
Okay, and tell us about the nature and character of the area. There's one next door with a carport that's close to the property line. Are there any other dwellings within the radius that are, if not the dwelling itself, parts of it or accessory structures that are really close to the property?
At the moment, I do not.
Okay.
I can't give you an
It's
address.
honest, I appreciate it.
Sure.
May I ask Deidre, what's the nature and character of the neighborhood with respect to those? Yeah, it's not, yeah. I don't know what would compel us to grant 5.5 or maybe 11 would be, I mean, it's just too close.
We have some precedent of 10 and 11s.
Right.
If you would want an adjournment to go back, talk to your clients and see if they want to come back with a different application, would it somewhat modify their plan? Yeah.
Yeah, the
We could do
proposed
that.
garage is, I believe, as small as they could possibly make it to be able to fit a vehicle inside.
I'm sure you're feeling the board right here for a moment. There's no way that we can grant 5.5 to the board. Well, there's a way, but I'm sure.
Help me out.
We
What's
had a
the
problem
way?
say yes.
What's the way?
You're not feeling the love, at least from me.
I know. I can tell.
Well, we don't want to drag you down a path.
Certainly.
And I think our chairman has extended to you some valuable insight to go back to your clients and tell them to think about maybe an 11th plan B and C. Maybe it's a carport.
Would the board be willing to consider, I know we can't do any negotiations really here, but if it were an open carport, would that be something
I
that,
think you should talk to planning about that.
okay,
And, we'll figure out what they would support.
okay.
Because obviously their support is influential.
And I don't think we have any legal carports approaching that far, do we?
I don't know, but,
What I asked, I'm sorry, I was looking at Deidre, I'm sorry.
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So those are your work assignments, sir.
State, would you like an adjournment?
That would be great.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So once you can contact the office and get them right on the schedule.
Certainly. All righty.
All right.
Thank you, board.
You have a great day.
Next application number 293-22, James A. and Megan Meyer, addition to Erect Secretary of 5 to 10, shed, behind the front line of the building, instead of 20 feet, and driveway having front line. Instead of 5%. 456.8 feet of driveway, Dyson, New York. Gentlemen, your names and addresses for the record, please.
James Minor, 23 Skipper Drive.
West Dyson.
And you, sir?
Yeah, David Hancock, Advanced American Engineering, 445 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 25.
How are you tonight? Good. So you looking for a second story addition?
Correct.
Floor area ratio 27.8 instead of 25. We see up to 30, so that fits right in. You have a shed having 18 feet behind the front line of the dwelling instead of 20. How long has that shed been there?
Well, since I bought the house, I don't know, maybe.
I can't hear you, so we have
Probably
power
back
walkers.
in the 80s. I
Like
bought the
the
house 15 years ago. It was there.
Okay, so that's good because in 13 it switched from 10 to 20.
Okay.
So you're at 18. And where are we here? Driveway, front yard occupancy of 46.2 instead of permitted 35.
Yeah, it's been the same.
Say again?
That's been the same since I've been there. So
Yeah. We always give 40%, not 46. So
Well, okay.
we'll have you get down to 40%. Just got to get there.
it's a
And
circle driveway.
yeah,
I mean, nobody.
there could be some ways you can speak to planning, maybe beds or something, and get some down to.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I
40%.
have the front lawn there already. And I have it's a single.
So-
It's just like a.
So do you not want 40%?
No, I want to be the way it is. What do I have?
You could have less if you want.
Yeah, 46.
what we're saying is you're not going to get more than 40.
Oh, okay, yes, fine.
There you go.
It's been a long week. It's a
no,
long
no.
week.
Okay,
so
no,
I'm
no, no,
busy.
that's, we just want. we
No, no,
wanted
good,
to
good, good. No, we're
clear
good.
and direct.
Yeah,
We
I'm
wanted
like,
to
make it
know-
smaller. No, no smaller. I got 5 kids, man. They got to run around that driveway. Believe me. So,
All right, so does anyone,
Yeah.
so does anyone, you're gonna get down to 40% of the front yard occupancy.
Okay.
The floor ratio seems good. We're gonna vote on it. The shed seems good. We're gonna vote on it. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, I'll take a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion that we deny so much of the application seeking 46.2% instead of permitted 35, however, grant 40% and grant the remainder of the application.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
You're good.
294-22 Sharon Sarah. Commission of the second front door on Senate Family Dwelling Place, Intermediate 1. Pursuant to 68, section 68-3. Residence at District 2, side of Castle Avenue, number 1061, 1026.7, East North, Sac Street, Bayshore, New York. Ma'am, your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Sharon Sarah. I'm at 1061 Casell Avenue, Bayshore, New York, 11706.
Photo of what that is. We have
Let's see.
So it's here the front door?
Yeah.
This is the second door that goes into
There you go. That's a good thing.
So, can I make a couple of statements?
Sure.
So on my block, I checked, there's 13 houses, including mine, with the second front door, and I brought photos. No, I'm just saying, it came with the house. All the houses have these second
This
front
is like
doors.
the 80th time we heard that tonight.
Oh, really? I brought photos as well.
So if everyone
okay.
else has an illegal front door, that doesn't give you an ability to get.
Okay, and I,
We believe you. You don't have to submit pictures.
Okay.
But it's just not official.
okay.
So.
I have no objection with it too. I believe I don't believe the code, the intent of the code, I don't believe this scenario is the violation.
How do we distinguish? I'm with our chairman and vice chairman. I agree with them, both of them. That's very rare. But how do we distinguish it, Mr. Garbarino? And so tomorrow somebody goes, look, you granted it to Ms.
Why do you feel it's important?
Because
Are you opposed to second front doors in general, or is there something else?
Let me tell you how I really feel. I think that we rarely ever grant second front doors. I mean, on my 15
We
years,
see them.
I know, but in my 15 years, the rarity that we saw them, it's even rarer that we grant them. So this is probably the least offensive applicant. The door, not you, the door. But I don't want to have this precedent put in front of us saying you granted them a second
Okay,
front.
so then why don't we do it this way? Because when you look at it on the visual impact, it's still in.
So maybe it's not really a door.
Because
It's
of
so
the
small.
placement of the second door on the left, you still only see one door, and the spirit of the code is adhered.
Right, and,
the second door, or the first door, probably the main door, isn't facing the street.
Correct, exactly. And I think
yeah, that's good. See,
Technical, but good.
is he, ma'am, this man's helping you remember.
Thank you.
I'm not, but he is.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's
Yeah.
good. The second front door doesn't face the street. The main door doesn't face the street, therefore it doesn't have the appearance of a two front door situation. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I also had a letter from a neighbor. I don't know if that.
No, we don't.
Oh, good.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? The board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
The application and recognize that the reason for doing so is that the primary front door does not face the street. So there really
Yeah, I like
no
that.
visual
No visual
impact.
impact.
Yes. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a great night.
5-22 La Placa Realty LLC, permission to do a second. Permission to erect a second story addition with a front yard of 9.9 feet, center of like 10 feet, with roof over porch having a front yard of 3 feet, center of like 10 feet, business one district, north side of Church Street number 941, 250 feet west of Smithtown Avenue, Union, New York. Name and address for recommendations.
Good evening. My name is Karina Peña from Joseph Gabriel Architects, located at 4250 Veterans Memorial Highway, Suite 280 East, Holbrook, New York. My last name is P-E-N-A. Peña. Yes. Yes. I think I'm gonna say Pina. What's that? Oh, is that good? Okay, no problem.
So is this a commercial property?
Yes, it is. It's
And
business.
what's in it?
Right now, it's they're renting to North Star Electric.
Oh, this was the old butcher. Okay.
Yeah, we already went for planning, in this.
Okay.
So
It's
it's
been like this for forever, right?
yes, absolutely, and the property next to it's the same
Tell you,
thing.
like, since the 80s at least, I can remember, maybe even the 70s.
So yeah, I'm representing La Placa Realty LLC, 941 Church Street, Bohemia, New York. I'm here to request relaxation to erect a second-story addition to existing one-story building, leaving front yard setback of 9.9 feet instead of the required 10 feet, and to maintain roofed-over porch, having front yard 3 feet instead of the required 10
So you're
feet.
putting a second story on the whole building?
Correct.
How much higher is it going to go than the existing peak? Is it going to go much higher, or is it just going to be squared off?
It won't be squared off. It's gonna be a little more higher. It's just another story. So the peak should be, if right now it's about 13, it should end up being like 20 overall.
What does it look like in that neck of the woods along? I'm not familiar
It's all
with that
like
area.
that. It's all like that. It's all commercial. It is a school
Correct.
across
It's
the
all
street.
commercial.
All like that, but single story.
There's
Both
not,
single
yeah, there's no two-story down there, but you only need a 10-foot variance. You're not going to meet height or do anything else, so the front porch then becomes an issue because that's, and if that already existed.
Yeah,
So the building has, the existing structure has the variance already. Am I right, Mary?
The porch that's referred to on the plot plan is the open porch that you see there on the.
No, but if the second story addition only needs a tenth of a foot.
Correct.
All right, granted. But
We
it's
granted all
basically,
that?
no, but it's basically in line. That means the building itself has that variance already, right?
No.
It was established as a.
It was-
Not
yeah.
as a non-conforming use, but yes.
So so why is this not in front of us as extension of a non-conforming use?
They're both, the uses comply in business one zoning. Why the zoning board heard it as a non-conforming use in 99 is a bit of a mystery, but I think it's likely related to the fact that at that time, there had been a fire in 1998. And prior to that, as Mr. Messina pointed out, it had been a butcher forever. It was built in 1927. So it had no CO at all. There was a fire in 1998. And then the buildings came before the board and were established as a legal non-conforming use.
If you need the 10th of a foot, that means the zoning ordinance provides.
Oh, I'm just curious.
No, I'm thinking out loud with you. I agree with you.
And what was it, a non-conforming setback, or was it like a true non-conforming use? What was it for?
Was it the use of the structure?
Right, yeah, he put it that.
Well, it's a very long decision, so I haven't read it all yet, but I believe it was the butcher shop in 1999 when it came before
So it was the use, not the structure.
And no, the use would have been complying in business one zoning, so I really
Had
think,
looked at the structure.
I really think it was more of a generous way of the town allowing the buildings to continue on without having to go through the site plan review.
And let's not forget, this faces, I believe, the school across the way. And if you go down that road on the aerial, it's all commercial use.
What is this proposed to do now?
No, no.
No.
Electric.
Oh,
It's just an electric, right? And they just want more space.
Put it another way, if everybody did the same thing, it's business on a busy highway, nobody's going to be affected. And what about the porch?
Yeah,
What are we doing with that?
Is it, I'm sorry, because this might be a mistake out of our office. It says that it's a roofed over porch, but the porch we see in the image there is not roofed over.
Right, I see the image right now, it's not a roofed over, so I think it was more like a,
Over, or are you just gonna keep it the way it is?
we're gonna keep it the way it is.
So then that doesn't even move.
So you're not putting a roof over the porch?
No.
When you put the second story?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just tree, but it's no roof.
Okay. So,
No, we're good.
no, I mean, given it's not, doesn't have a roof.
That's what I should.
Yeah, okay, so I'll make a motion to amend the code to eliminate the reference to roof over porch, just replace it.
I'll second that.
All in favor? All right, and what should be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted as amended.
Next application is number
Have a good night.
296-22, Nicholas and Jennifer Williams. Permission to erect first and second story additions leaving the side yard of 11.5 feet instead of required 14 feet, floor area ratio of 31.92%, 5%. To establish two-family, family use zoning pursuant to ISO Town Code Section 68-1, Avenue, 23 and 40 South 4th Street, Islip, New York. Name and address for the record, please.
Nicholas Capucci, Cappucci. I work with Todd O'Connell Architects, 1200 Veterans Highway, Suite 120, Hauppauge, New York.
How are you tonight?
Very good. Good afternoon, board members. So I'm here today with my clients. My clients are here, Mr. Hessian and Mrs. Williams are here. So we're requesting a re-addition to the home. I do want to submit some elevations and floor plans that I don't think we submitted with the original documents, just a site plan I think you guys have.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Do we have any precedent on the FAR?
Just the FAR.
Yes, I'm pretty sure the FAR, when we spoke to planning board in the beginning of this project a few months ago, we researched that, looked into it. There was a precedence down the block, on the block for 3,200 square feet, so 32%.
Did the address from planning, is there a precedent for FAR?
So we were trying to keep it actually under the 32%, which we achieved at 31%. And just for quick notes too, the side addition is really like a 1.5 story addition, but full 2-story. It's not full 16-foot walls. It has the slope roof with just doggy dormers.
Okay. Great, and two-family, family use only, it's based on medical. Everything seems to be in order in the file.
Yeah, and I just want to also submit for the records that they did have this, I guess, back and forth with the town for quite a while. Their parents before them lived together, grandparents lived together, and it seems we had something from the tax assessor's office where they were going for an exemption for a living quarters with the parents and grandparents.
I think you can submit that, but if you'd like to, but I think you
All right.
think we're doing all right.
Yeah, it's fun.
But if you'd like to submit it for the record, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, I guess you might as well take it just to have it.
Yeah.
Since you
said it. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion that we grant the application. And with respect to the family use only, similarly grant that for a period of 3 years.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you in 3 years.
Excellent. Thank you. Have a good night.
Next application is 297-22, Jorge B. Arroyo Ramos. Permission to establish a single family dwelling in a business zone district on lot having within 70 feet. Lot area of 12,197 square feet instead of required 20,000 square feet. Front yard 18.9 feet instead of required 40 feet. Side yard of 8.5 5 feet instead of requiring 18 feet for each driveway on the street. 5% in concrete walkway outside property line, instead having required setback of the door. Business one district is south to the side of West Suffolk Avenue, 136, 261.5 feet east of Islip Avenue, Central Islip, New York. Name and address for the record, please, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Mr. Chairman. My name is Angel Aponte, Aponte, and I'm here as an agent for Mr. George P. Arroyo Ramos.
How are you tonight, sir?
Good.
So it appears there was work done already.
Yes, sir.
Stopped, right?
Yes.
And now they're trying to make it just a single-family resident?
Yeah, so according to taxes, this place has been taxed as as 2 commercial spaces, non-conforming. And when Mr. Ramos started doing the addition on it, he was forced with either filing to make it a legal commercial space, which he could, and told me that he didn't have the funds to do that.
Mr. Aponte, I don't get it. It's clearly a commercial business area. How did a residential use get there in the first place?
It's not.
I was going to get to that.
Okay, well, why don't you get to it now?
I will. So, it was being used as a commercial space. He did not have the money to actually legally do and put all the utilities for a commercial space. The CO is a residential building, a one family residential building. And I said the cheapest and easiest way is to keep it a residential building and not change what is there since 1932.
Can I ask you a quick question, interrupt you?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Ernest? Those pictures that you sent in here, I think I counted 5 entrance doors around that building that I put the extension on. 5. And they look pretty new. How is the residents on that area going to have 5 separate doors to get in?
There is now 3.
I'm close. It's 5. I have 2
Okay.
pictures.
2 of them are in the back, and the proposed plans in building now, it's only going to be, it's still going to be 2 in the back and 1 in the front.
I mean, there's multiple residents living there. Let's not dance around. Let's not pretend. What is the overarching reason why we should permit a residential in a business area?
No, sir, that is incorrect. There's not multiple residents there.
All right, no, answer my question. What
Yes.
is the reason that we should grant it? It's clearly a business area. It's as industrial as you can get. How many meters are on?
1.
Answer.
We're not here to determine if it's local containment. Mr. Wexler's question, however, is appropriate, that, what's the rationale for us to approve? Because your argument that it historically has been residential, that you want it to remain so,
No,
there's some other argument.
My argument is that the owner has one of 2 choices: either make it commercial, which is what you're advancing to. He does not have the money to do that.
But that's not a zoning reason for us.
But
That's not a valid zoning reason. That's like saying that if I had a home on the water in Sylvan, and I didn't have the money to keep it as a residential home, so I wanted to use it as a commercial outdoor storage for rubber. That doesn't make it a reason.
So, okay, clarify this for me. The building has been used for the last 50 years illegally as commercial space with a residential CO, and that's okay to maintain that? Or to
No.
come before you and say, let's just continue doing that?
No.
We ask questions. That's a good point.
But that's
You
what I'm
made your
saying.
point.
That's what I'm saying. And so
But-
I want to reiterate, if you're forced with that situation and it says, sir, you have a commercial building that's been here for 50 years, continue it as a commercial building, and you say, I don't have $100,000 to put the
I know,
utilities.
we've gone
I'm-
over the
excuse me,
finance. No,
excuse me, let me
excuse-
continue.
No. Don't say excuse me as if you don't need to hear from me. We asked the question, so don't say excuse me. Thank you. I'm trying to find out, it's clearly a business area, district. What's the rationale of granting? I still haven't heard it. And don't tell me he doesn't have $100,000 to convert it with 5 doors in it. What is the rationale? Here's the reason that makes sense to do it. Tell me.
On paper, it's residential.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Are there other residentially used parcels in close proximity to this one?
Absolutely. Right next door is and across the street.
Okay. Well, Ms. Ryan, perhaps you can address that. If you know. So then let's attack it. Let's approach it that way. The residential use is permitted in business one.
It is,
No.
what is if it has a lot area? It's a correct lot area, right?
What exactly for the legal?
Wait.
How is this legal?
Hold on.
It is a use.
Mr. Messina was asking a question.
Except if the residential use was the non-conforming use, there's been an admitted discontinuance of that reason. Right. Correct. So now really what you're looking to do is to put a new non-conforming use section. Okay. I understand.
Then they'd have to meet,
It's a high bar.
yeah, they'd have to meet those factors.
And to Mr. Ponte's point, though, back in 1937 or circa 1937, areas had looked a lot different. There was probably many residential areas up and down this corridor here, Suffolk Avenue.
The problem is that this particular use was discontinued.
Yes.
So a period of a year.
I agree.
Absent that, it wasn't good non-conforming use.
So even if we were to treat this, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, as a non-conforming use, it fails because they discontinued the use for more than a year. And how do we get beyond that without fictionalizing?
Can I suggest that we look at this also now from a more practical perspective? If we deny this, what does that leave the applicants? I mean, in reality, I know it's not our problem, but in reality, it's a residential, it's a commercial use without a permit. Can't afford to make it a legal commercial. It's CO. I get it. I'm just saying what the
It's an
practical
unfortunate result.
implications of a denial.
In the real world, he would sell it, and it would be used for the use for which the area is subject,
But
which
for
is
which it is
commercial.
not of CO.
That's not
Can I
ours.
ask-
I know.
Can I
I'm just
ask-
saying
no, I
it's
hear
an
you.
interesting.
Yeah.
Can I ask Mary?
Dilemma.
Can I ask Mary a question, really quick? We have the CO circa 1937, which says residential.
Yeah, we have a lot of circa 1937s. And
Yeah.
I'll explain why.
Yeah.
Because 37 was the first year
Zoning.
in which zoning was, covered the complete town. So when we predate, we have a lot of circa 37s because it basically means in or around 37, and that's all you needed in order to predate zoning.
Understood. But it's written permission to establish single-family dwelling in business one district.
Right. A single-family dwelling is permitted in business one, provided you meet the criteria of double L. So so the presumption is that you can have the single-family dwelling there, but you need the larger lot area and the larger width to buffer it from the presumably commercial properties.
Gotcha. That's my question. So if the lot was large enough, it could be residential business.
Right, but and obviously the board just wants to consider whether or not this location in Suffolk Avenue is likely that the single-family would be compatible with the surrounding uses.
And Mr. Ponte had his hand up a few times. I'm sorry. We were just trying to talk our way through it. So
And I'm just following up on what Mary said. I don't know by any stretch of the imagination that we could say this use is compatible with the existing. It's not.
Doesn't seem like next to us Kentucky Fried Chicken would be the best place to build a new house. If it was vacant lot.
How hungry you are.
It depends, right? Hunger can be a great motivator.
And absolutely, I would agree, not to build a new house, but this is something that's been there for almost 100 years. And all I'm saying is, let's just continue what's on the CO. He's beautifying it. To Mr. Nicolia's point, if you deny this thing, it'll just rot, and nobody's going to buy a building that's half rotten. It's just not going to go
Just to
anywhere.
correct you, Mr. Ponte, if we so move to continue as it was, it's been extended greatly. It's not continued as it was. Your client has blown out the back of it, the 2 stories.
It's, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes, sir. You're
It
right.
hasn't been a residential use in very many years, right?
So I appreciate what you were saying. I understand what you're saying, but it's.
I disagree. Yeah, thank you,
When was the last time?
Mr. Lorenzo.
If you know.
Maybe 3 years ago, because illegally, as the 2 stores remain there and were taxed illegally there.
What are
they
you
were-
basing that on 3 years? When you say 3 years ago it was residential?
Mr.
What-
Ramos bought it 2 years ago, and previous to that, there was people running the stores downstairs and people living
It
upstairs.
was more of a mixed use than a residential use 3 years ago. What, do you happen to know? And if you don't, it's okay. When was the
Fails
last time
every
you
element.
did a single family rental?
I don't have that information. And to kind of add insult to injury, I'm 39 years old, and since I've been 7, 8 years old, driving up and down the street, there's been commercial spaces there.
No.
Yes, sir.
Stop work. Stop work.
Stop work order. Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, and as I mentioned earlier, to your point, is that there is an application with drawings to mitigate the situation and bring it back to a one-family dwelling in the building department held pending this decision.
So they have,
Yeah, I think we should reserve,
We
because
definitely-
I'm very torn on
we
this.
definitely have to reserve, because I believe what Mr. Ponte is saying is true. I don't have any reason to think you're not telling the truth. So I would like to check on that. But you're saying that there's plans in the building department to convert this back to a one-family? That's it?
Yes,
No
sir.
more commercial frontage, nothing?
Correct.
I think we have to reserve on it, like the other board members saying, look into this and check it all out.
Fair enough.
We have to talk about the front yard occupancy really quick before we reserve though, because you have the front yard occupancy of 80% instead of permitted 35.
Yes, and I wanted to kudos to Mary. She's awesome. So we had originally, myself and the owner had agreed to bring this down to 35%, but for purposes of following up with the owner and the future contractors, whoever's going to be working on this, I needed it to be on paper that it is now going to be 35%. If you take it off the calendar and take it off this paperwork, or hopefully your grant, they may dismiss it, and I didn't want that to be dismissed.
Who
I
will
wanted-
dismiss what?
He's saying it has to be written down to 35% on the grant, that do some grant.
Yes, I
See that.
I submitted a survey with hatched areas showing what I and the owner have agreed to cut back on the sidewalk that is too close to the side property line, and the current driveway, which was more for a commercial multi-car use,
I
to
see
be
that.
cut back for a single-family residence.
Yep, I see that.
So the board would then just deny that part of the application, and without any acknowledgement of how you intend to cut it down to 35, because that's not their issue. You would just cut it down to 35, because that's what you thought.
Yes, I just need it in writing.
But you wouldn't get, you'd get it denied.
We can get 36, and then he has something.
We only give 40. If it's 35,
I'll
we
take
only
it.
give 40, so.
I'll take it. I just
In writing, you can get up to 40. If that- so
Let me know right now.
It is, it's a busy road, so
We're
40%
gonna
is,
reserve it.
we're gonna reserve anyway. But I'm saying is that we have a lot of hurdles to jump before we get to that point. But
okay.
I'm just saying that, in my opinion, we give up the 40, and it is a very busy road there. So I hear what you're saying. We want something written down.
Yep.
And I say we give up the 40 because we always do anyway. Or we have to pick one. But we do, I think, need to reserve and really research this property, research the front. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, you'll take a motion.
Motion to reserve decision.
All in favor?
Aye.
You know we have 62 days by law, but we'll do the best we can to get it done. As soon as we can.
This application number 298-22, Catherine Spees and Michelle Spees from Michigan. Spees permission to use Erect, New York 9.5, and it's going to require taking fees as the public district. Middle Road, Oakdale, New York, Mr. Aponte, welcome back in. Address the record.
Good evening, board. My name is Angel Aponte, Aponte, as agent for Mrs. Spees and Mrs. Spees.
Good evening, how are you? Again,
Great.
I know this property pretty well.
It's right in the corner.
Yeah.
Yep.
That carport, it's that carport one, right?
Yep.
So you have an in-ground pool, 9, 5, and 18. How long has that pool been there?
I believe it was constructed this last summer.
Where is the pool?
It's not there.
It's not there because it was just recently,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately, put in the wrong spot.
How do you put it in the wrong spot? Yeah, how do you put
They
it? in the wrong- How do you put a pool in the wrong spot?
They have a permit.
How do
They
you
have
put
it?
it? Oh, they do have one.
Yes, sir.
So, but how do you put it in the wrong spot?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I don't understand.
You
I'll
ask
just put
me,
it there.
you get the surveyors, you pin it, you put it in the right
They
spot,
got a permit. Didn't the permit show where it should be?
and we're here still.
But in fairness, it is next to the pool on the adjoining parcel, which is
Yeah.
also very close, right? But, you know, fences are actually right there. It's not like they.
Yeah, went off the fence line.
Hey.
yeah.
I didn't realize the other guys have a pool. I think there's large shrubs between those two neighbors, and I can't see over there.
Deidre, what say you from,
Complaint.
Yeah.
what say you from planning, Deidre? How is there no precedent when that
Yeah.
side yard?
Because that might be illegal too.
Do we want to go down to 9.5 feet? I mean,
Out of curiosity, where did the permit put the pool?
Yeah, so I'm trying to find it
Because I
here.
don't see anywhere that's super compliant.
Yeah.
I don't see any permit in the file. I don't know if we have it. or not.
yeah. Can you show us the permit?
You're applying for a permit. Yeah. So why don't we reserve it?
Yeah. Do you have the permit?
Not on me, no, sir.
Did you see the permit?
Yes, that's why I said that there was a permit.
Let's
Yep. Yep. Would you favor us with a copy of the permit, please?
I will try to do my best, yes.
get it now.
Oh, for that.
All right, so we're gonna have to reserve and check this out and check the permit out. It just seems extreme, Mr. Ponte, that they got a permit and they are 50% off on.
It's amazing that they got a permit at all.
Yeah.
I don't see where to go.
But we'll check it out, though. Yeah, we'll,
Yeah.
as you know, we're gonna reserve decision.
Sure.
I-
So, you know.
That's, I'm fine. I just don't know how you put in a 40-foot pool without.
May I?
Yeah,
I
sure.
I did speak to Michelle earlier today.
Who's
And she-
Michelle?
That Michelle Spees.
Oh,
one of
your
the-
client.
It's one of the owners. Yeah.
Okay.
So she's a traveling nurse, and she told me on one of her trips that she was away, she comes back and this thing is in the ground.
Oh, I was away and boom, it was there.
She didn't do it.
I wish that
And
would
so-
happen at my house. Yeah, really, exactly.
She didn't know. So I mean,
Built the pool, I need a personal.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be away next week.
Me too. I'm going to be away next week, and I'm hoping there's a 40-foot pool in my backyard and a Bentley.
let's and a Bentley.
See, Mr. Lex, so you always ask that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't. It's what
Okay,
the situation. I don't want it to be a condition for grant or anything like that. But it's what she told me.
So we're gonna reserve decision. Do you want some time to submit that permit before we start reserve?
I think the gentleman here said that he
We're
was
gonna
going
get
to look
it?
into
Okay.
the records.
Never
I mean,
mind.
I can if you want me to.
No,
It's
no,
not
we'll
big.
get it. Does anyone wish to be heard?
See if we can get the drawings that were submitted with the permit application to see what the pool is supposed to be.
It's easier if I get.
Yeah. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions, further questions?
I want to get home because there may be a pool in my backyard.
It may be heated. too.
Boy, Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
We have 62 days, Mr. Ponte, you know that, and we'll do it as quick as we can.
Off the record, may I make a comment, please?
No, we can't have off the record, so.
It's on the record. You can comment on the
Unless you're on film, so.
Yeah.
That's fine. I just want to talk to you guys. So
No, we can't take, no, it doesn't work that way.
I don't want to say
No.
anything about these cases.
No.
That's okay.
No, we can't take off the record. It's not legal.
Okay, so put it on the record. I just want to
Then,
talk to you.
then you want to make a comment? Go ahead. It's on the
Okay.
record.
My comment on the record, I said excuse me because as you don't like to be interrupted, neither do I. So when I say excuse me,
You're
it's
going
because
down the wrong path, sir. Let me just explain one thing. We have the right to interrupt you. Why? Why? Don't act so surprised.
No.
Because we have 35 cases on every Tuesday. If we let people go on as long as they wanted and everybody wanted whatever, we would be here till the next day, noon. That's why we're given the option to say, okay, and move on or direct where we need to be. Those are the rules. Okay, that's why it's not that we're rude or not that we had a misspent youth. We have the right to interrupt, to narrow and point the applicant or the expediter where we have questions. That's the way it goes. Okay? Next.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
You too, thank you.
Thanks.
Next application number 299-22, Blue Hills Jewels LLC, Bola EM Realty LLC, permission to erect one-story building on a lot, having a lot width of 85.54 feet instead of the required 900 feet, leaving interior height of setback of 38.19 feet instead of required 45 feet, with erected gasoline service station at feet, leaving interior height of setback of 36.7 feet instead of required 60 feet. Permit lighting not to be contained on the site when containment is required. To maintain 6 facial signs or a maximum of 3 facial signs are permitted to maintain canopy sign having a sign area of 12 square feet instead of permitted 7.2 square feet. Business district, northwest corner of Motor Parkway, number 700 Express Drive North, Front Route, New York, Mr. Hull. Nice to see you again. It's been a long day for me. I
Yes.
apologize.
No
And
worries.
this is something good, and I'd love to see how you're
Yes.
going to do this.
You guys putting one on like every 200 feet up more?
I'm not familiar with the other Motor Parkway sites. This is the one that I handle. For the record, my name is Hansley Mohan, Brown Altman DeLeo, 538 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 301 West, Melville, New York, 11747.
How are you tonight, sir?
Good, how are you?
Great.
So we are here tonight requesting before mentioned area and sign variance relief in connection with the proposed redevelopment of the property, which currently operates as a gasoline service station with a convenience store. We're proposing to redevelop the property to construct a new gasoline service station with a Bola Market convenience store, as well as a Tim Hortons with a drive-through service.
Yeah, hang on one second. Gentleman in the back, you got to take it outside. Your voice is traveling and we can't hear.
Thank you.
Yep, a Bola Market convenience store, as well as a Tim Hortons with a drive-throughs. Yes. Yep. So the first variance that we are requesting is permit the lot width of 85.54 feet, where a minimum of 100 feet is required. This is actually a pre-existing condition. It currently is 85.54 feet. We are looking to maintain this condition. It does not affect the adjacent property owners, which are all commercial properties. This is a highly commercial and industrial area. It is also not a substantial ask. We're requesting a 15-foot variance, and it will not, we respectfully submit, impact any of the adjacent neighboring properties.
You rebuilding in the same footprint?
No, so we're actually going to be demolishing the existing building, which is a one-story, 5,300, give or take, square foot building.
But you're putting the new one in the same spot.
It's going to be a little bit moved more north, and it's going to have two storefronts that are part of the same building, which is actually going to be 1,200 square feet smaller than what is currently exists.
So it's actually more toward.
Yes. Yes.
Do you have?
You see the canopy there, Mr. Sullivan, on the right? Yeah. Oh, I see.
Are the canopy, is the canopy going to be demolished too?
Yes. So the canopy is actually going to be relocated in the way that it's.
And is it going to be closer, further away?
So it's actually going to be located closer to Expressway Drive North to the south. And I believe it's going to be horizontal.
Is there precedent for 36 instead of 60 feet? It's a significant variance.
Not that we are aware of at this time. And in order to maintain a safe site circulation, and given the unusual shape and the configuration of the lot, if we were to relocate the canopy a bit further back, it would conflict with our proposed parking, which then would necessitate a parking variance. So we're seeking to
Make the
avoid.
canopy smaller? I mean, you're asking, it's a big lift.
I don't know what impact it would have to make it smaller. Oh, why would they want it?
I mean, why do they, I'm just wondering, the code says 60. What's the point of 60 if we just say, well, 36 is fine? There must have been, I guess we have to pay due obeisance to the town board, who doesn't mean we're locked into it, but they felt 60 feet is appropriate. And it's not like, that's not the end all, the be all, but it's not like they're asking for 55, 53, or 42. It's huge.
This is an unusually shaped parcel at a very difficult location. I mean, you know, as you see before you in the area, it's not even like it's a T-shaped intersection. This is this semicircle
but
leading into Express Drive South. The parcel itself doesn't even cover that whole area.
I'm just looking at the canopy, and
Yeah, no,
they want to put it closer.
Yeah. no,
Maybe where the shadow is going to be, almost. I mean, how much closer can you get? I'm looking at whatever that east-west highway is.
you know,
Is it going, I'm sorry, Vinny, but is it going closer to that highway?
No, the existing setback, according to the plan, is 16.6 feet. And that's North Service Road.
So how far back from the North Service Road do you plan to put the canopy?
I believe the canopy is going to be set back 38.19 feet.
So
Oh, sorry,
it's going-
I misread, 36.70 feet.
Yeah, so it's 20 feet greater.
Right. Okay.
Again, more towards conformity.
Right, no, that's important.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah. Canopies now because they.
Sure. And you don't mind us interrupting you? I
Yeah,
appreciate
of course.
that.
Absolutely.
Deirdre, planning have any objection? No objection from planning. Do you have anything, you want to keep finishing? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, of course. So we are also requesting a setback for the convenience store, which is proposed to be setback 38.19 feet, where a minimum of 45 feet is required. So we're essentially asking for a 7-foot variance. And what's also a unique feature of this lot is that the northeastern property line is actually already set back approximately 58.5 feet from Motor Parkway. So in essence, although we are asking for a 7-foot variance for the proposed convenience store, practically speaking, the convenience store will be set back almost 100 feet from Motor Parkway.
Okay, great.
Can you just
yes.
explain one thing? I'm not quite sure what it means. The lighting not to be contained on site where containment is required. What does that mean?
Yeah, so essentially what we have in the proposed plans, given the location of the fuel canopy as well as the proximity of the drive-through service lane to the northwestern property boundary, in order to adequately light the area, there is some spillage that does occur over the property line. I believe it is a certain approximation of foot candles, which I will defer to the expert to discuss a little bit more. So there's essentially light that does spill out over the property line.
And where will it spill
Spills
out?
out onto what? The parking lot? next
So
door?
yeah, so exactly that. So the
All right.
spillage spills out onto the parking lot, to the shopping center to the,
Okay.
the west, and then
Thank you.
also onto
I'm good.
Expressway Drive.
Appreciate it.
And then also, in addition to the area variances, we're also requesting, as Mr. Messina pointed out, the sign variances to install additional facial signs. So we are, because the proposed convenience store will be a Bola Market with a Burger King fast food offering, as well as the additional storefront with the Tim Hortons and the drive-through offering. We have proposed wall signs that reflect each of those services and offerings. So we have the Bola placard, which is standard with all Bola markets, as well as the Bola Market sign itself. We have a 16 square foot Burger King logo sign, as well as the Tim Hortons sign on the additional storefront. And that is for the southern elevation. And then on the eastern elevation, it is just the Bola Market sign, as well as, again, a 16 square foot Burger King logo sign. And then the last sign variance that we're requesting is the gasoline canopy sign, which of course is required given the area of the face of the canopy itself. We're requesting approximately 5 square foot variance for that as well.
Right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we have one second call application, Sabrina Murray. I'd like the record to reflect there's no one in the audience for that. Sir, are you here for any application?
Yeah, 295-22. Yeah, it was amended. Yeah, that's, we granted it with an amendment that taking the roof over out of it, that I've covered, it's all granted. It was granted. It was granted, yeah. We amended the roofed over on the application because they're not having a roofed over porch, they're just having that porch there, according to the design professional. So it's granted. Okay? Thank you.
Mr. Sarah, any other business?
We have 14 accessory apartments to renew.
Motion to grant the accessory apartment for a period of 3 years. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have 3 applications to read in.
Is that a police officer?
Yeah. Can you do something with that?
We got to talk about a little space allocation because we have like 3 people shoved into one table down here.
Yeah,
and you guys have like 4 people.
Right.
Stop complaining.
You guys like to be closer just to chat.
You know you do. I know you do.
Application number 815-21, Emil Iannone. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated April 26, 2022, the application is denied as submitted, however, granted permission to maintain 10 feet behind the front line dwelling. On motion out.
Motion.
Aye.
Application number 55-22, Carolina Sosa and Alice Flora. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated April 26, 2022, the application is granted. On motion out.
Motion.
Application number 82-22, Thomas Rodriguez and Elizabeth Villa Martin Rodriguez. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated April 26, 2022, the application is denied as submitted, however, granted permission to maintain presence at the permit. On motion out.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Vinny, I'm sorry I cut you off. I didn't hear you, and the use variance thing popped into. If I didn't say it, I was going to lose it.
That was good.